Hey guys, welcome to the last episode of Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist for 2023. So this is it. I'm off tomorrow, and I'll be off Monday, which is this New Year's Day, of course, and I'll actually be off traveling on Tuesday, back in the shop Wednesday, which I guess is, what is that, the third, whatever that is, second. Anyway, yeah, so let me talk about what I did today. A little bit of a short day. It's about 2 hours before I normally leave, but we're traveling tomorrow, so I got to get packed tonight and stuff like that. So yeah, let's talk about the 69 EV chassis. So today, pretty much spent the day getting this chassis ready to put the body on. So those of you with keen eyes may notice that the chassis to body seal is on it now. So spent the morning doing that, getting it on there nice and neatly, and then pre-trimming all the holes. So yeah, came out really good. Pretty excited to get the body on this car. Other than that, just tying up some other loose odds and ends on the chassis. Let's see, what did I do? I took off the rear truss bar, the main member that connects both shock towers. I took that off because that interferes with putting the body on. So once the body goes on, I think at least in the instructions it says you have to trim the openings in the body, which sit about here, for the truss bar to connect there. So I'll see, but for sure to put the body on, truss bar has got to be off, at least the I guess what I'd call the main cross member there. These are not really going to be in the way, so they can just kind of flop around there where they are. So pulled that off. And another thing, just again, little loose ends that I've been meaning to do. The heater control tubes, which you see here, were out to about here. So of course I cut those off kind of and left just enough to put a cap on them. So kind of neatly plug those off. Of course this car will not use heaters, so those are gone. And let's see what else. Went ahead and capped off the throttle cable tube, because of course this car is going to have an electronic throttle. It's going to sit up there on the firewall. We actually use a pedal off a Prius that's going to mount up here and actuate this way instead of being floor mounted. So yeah, anyway, no need for a throttle cable. It's all drive-by-wire, of course, for an EV car. Other little things, finally went ahead and tightened these up. They were loose because I thought maybe I'd do an alignment on this car before we put the body on it, but it seems easier to do once the wheels and tires are on it and it's sitting on its own weight. So I tighten these up just in case we take the car for a spin or something before we do an alignment. I want to make sure anything like that is tight so that the car is safe. We can loosen them up again when we go to do an alignment. The other thing on the rear suspension I finally did is I went ahead and I peened these. So I don't know if you can see or not, but this big bolt here that holds that's basically the pivot location for the IRS trailing arm. The way that's held in from backing out is you actually peen the chassis to the bolt. So you can see here the bolt, well, I'm not sure if you can see or not, the bolt has 3 little grooves in it, there, and there. And so what you do is you peen this basically sleeve that's part of the chassis to one of those. So you can see where I did it right there. You can see right there is the original one. So when you go to remove these, basically what happens is you put enough torque on this and it'll just shear off that where that's peened. But for sure it's not going to loosen itself up during just normal driving. But so that's something that I went ahead and did, because these I don't expect to have to pull out again. So things like that are much easier to do before the body is on the car. I think that is pretty much it. I'm trying to think if I did anything up front. Oh, I know what I did up front. Up front, I put in longer bolts to hold the frame, or excuse me, to hold the front beam to the pan. I put in 100mm bolts. The standard ones are 90mm, and I know 10mm doesn't sound like a lot, but you know, for this car having a lot of power and big brakes and stuff, I felt like the front beam is going to have quite a bit of force on it, you know, with the brakes and everything. And the stock front beam bolts only had about that much thread engagement, which I'm sure is fine for a stock car, but I just felt more comfortable having another, you know, 10 millimeters of thread engagement. So I went and found some high grade bolts that are in 100 millimeters and put those on and got those all torqued down. So yeah, feeling better about the thread engagement there. Again, you know, one of my main concerns for this car, well, every car for that matter, is safety. Of course, with this car being that it's going to be fast and so on, we have to kind of think a little bit more in terms of making it safer than a stock car. So little things like beefing those up, I think, is a good idea on a car like this. So that's pretty much it, other than running some errands and so on for this car. One thing I'll mention, a little frustrating, Impy, if you're listening. So this front beam, which is an Impy beam, has some super weird size Zerk fitting. So these beams, the beams have 4 Zerk fittings, one for each trailing arm. So 2 here, 2 there. I don't know what size they are, but no standard or metric size common available Zerk fitting that I tried fit. I think they may be 1/16 inch NPT thread, which is a tapered pipe thread, which is a really stupid size. So come on, Impy, if that's what those are. The stock ones are 8 millimeter metric, of course. They don't fit. The sort of standard US sizes don't fit. Again, I think it's 1/16 NPT, which is just a really dumb and weird size. So Impy, please do better. So yeah, I've got to get some Zerk fittings. I was going to go ahead and grease the front end of this thing before I put the body on it. Somebody's going to try and get me those Zerk fittings, and hopefully they'll be correct. And so if the body goes on, then I'll just have to crawl under the car and grease the front end. But, you know, not a big deal. But I am trying to do all those kind of annoying things before there's a body on it, just to make my life easier and minimize how much I have to crawl around on the ground. So that's pretty much it for today, guys. Appreciate all you who watched this year, and looking forward to next year. Next year we got some big things coming. We should hopefully finish this car, the 69 EV. I'm hoping to finish it maybe mid-year. The 64 one family car, chassis buried back there in the corner, hoping to maybe finish it around that same time frame, maybe mid-year. We've got this 23 window bus that just came in. We've got its almost twin brother, 23 window, same color, sitting back there, that should be done in paint and ready to come into our shop in the coming weeks. So yeah, 2024 is going to be a big year. We're going to be putting out at least 2 bugs and hopefully 2 buses, and we'll see what else comes into the shop. So thanks again. Hope everyone has a good, happy, and safe new year, and we'll see you guys next year. Thanks for watching.